We are currently in a very interesting and rather unique situation. Due to the current pandemic circumstances, many of us find ourselves with a lot of spare time. Time that could be spent learning a new language or skill. Or, I don't know, remembering you had a YouTube channel? Just me? Are any of my subs still active? Never mind that. Both you and me know why you're here. You're looking for a new game to play to keep you occupied and distracted from all this mess. And I've got you covered. Today I'll be suggesting all the best relevant free games across the PC platform from many different genres. Let's start with everyone's favorite or least favorite genre that took over the gaming world last year, Battle Royale. One of the reasons why it became so popular is that there are so many good options that are completely free. Everybody knows Fortnite and it needs no introductions or recommendations, so let's look at some other choices. If you like Fortnite's art style, you might find Realm Royale a very suitable alternative. At the start of each match you can choose a class, or rather a character that can equip different abilities depending on its class. And you can also forge the legendary weapons in forges scattered around the map. Those aspects make it worth checking out. Another cool BR with a similar art style is Darwin Project. A very unique concept in which every match has a show director that spectates players and has the ability to award and punish them according to their will. It's much smaller compared to other BRs, there are only 10 people competing in each match. It's also worth noting that they remove duos, which may sadden some players. If you're looking for something more graphically impressive and not cartoony, you might want to look up Ring of Elysium. It looks really good and the gunplay is phenomenal. It also has different modes, so check out the game's page for more info on that. Another good looking game, but perhaps a bit on the goofy side, would be Cuisine Royale. It's a bit less serious, after all it uses kitchen appliances for armor. But it has everything you'd want out of a great BR game. I saved the strangest for last with Black Survival. Definitely not your run-of-the-mill BR, as it involves no gunplay whatsoever. You compete against 9 opponents, trapped with them on an island with many different locations that offer food, water and most importantly, armor and weapons. It's a bit of a mix between a survival and a clicker game really. And if the anime art style attracts you, it's very likely that you'll enjoy it. MMORPG is a wide and compelling genre that has kinda been on a bit of a decline last few years. Still, there are many great options out there that you might find interesting. If you like MMORPGs, you most likely played or at least heard of Path of Exile. An alternative to Diablo 3 is actually doing better than ever in terms of player base 7 years after its release, with new content added very recently. If that doesn't speak of the game's quality, I don't know what will. Another game you might have heard of, in many articles about the insane commitment of its players, EVE Online is often described as a commitment, an activity and a universe of its own. It's massive, a sandbox full of possibilities, some of which are hard to find anywhere else. If you dream of space, you just might get lost in its incredibly complicated universe. Star Wars is still fresh in our minds, be it for good or bad reasons. When EA was doing a purge of free games on Origin, only one free game remained on the platform. That is Star Wars: The Old Republic. BioWare's multiplayer child that, unlike Anthem, had much success through the years. It features great storytelling, something that you can't say for most MMORPGs. Do you remember one of the best games of 2012? Guild Wars 2? If not, perhaps it's time to refresh your memory a bit. Still going strong in 2020, it's considered one of the best MMORPGs of all time. Filled with lore and all that fantasy goodness. Another good fantasy MMORPG option would be Tree of Savior. A bit more simplistic in terms of art style and maybe not that popular as some other options. It has a very committed player base though, and it does deserve a mention. Soulworker completes our MMORPG options. It has a fun hack and slash combat and very flashy visuals. In its key features, it is said that this is a playable anime. Not sure what that exactly means, but I do like the sound of it. Free racing games are mostly dominated by demos for their paid versions. Still, you can have a lot of fun even with a so-called demo version. Probably what comes to everyone's mind first is Forza Motorsport 6 Apex and Project Cars Pagani edition, both serving as a demo version for the paid games. But they can be played for an unlimited time, so if you don't get bored by the game having very few maps and cars, you're set. Raceroom Racing experience is similar. While the game isn't a demo version, you need to pay to play more cars and tracks, so it basically comes down to the same thing. Trackmania Nations Forever, however, is a much more full experience. It's not as serious or realistic as these other options, but it's very creative and fun. The only difference between Nations Forever and United, the paid version, is that you have to sit out a multiplayer match every now and then. And you also don't have some car customization options. Strategy is a very broad genre. Most games can be called strategic or have some strategy aspects. But in this category, I'll be looking at some more traditional strategy choices. Did you know that Crusader Kings 2 went free to play? It was easy to miss. Nevertheless, CK2 is a very unique game. In reality more of a court and dynasty simulator than a strategy game. But there's also a lot of wars, diplomacy and other things you'd expect from a medieval strategy game. But with the added depth in which characters and events really matter. Another grand and legendary strategy game is free, and that is Starcraft 2. Fast-paced with a steep learning curve is certainly not for everyone, but real RTS fans have already played it or are still playing it today. And you should join them. So, I know I said that this category is reserved for more traditional strategy choices, but there just aren't that many good ones out there. So I'll just give a mention to auto chess games, Riot's Teamfight Tactics and Valve's Dota Underlords. The rounds are played by acquiring more and better units each round, which then battle it out on the field automatically against other players. I suggest watching a few streams to see if you'd like it. It's hard to enter the MOBA genre since existing options are very popular and aren't going away anytime soon. League and Dota 2 are the leaders, with Smite providing fun to players who'd rather play the genre in third person. There's only one more option I'd like to mention. Battlerite is not really a MOBA game, but it has some MOBA elements that make it unique in its own way. It's a team arena brawler, played from top-down perspective. Who doesn't like a good card game? Couldn't be me, played them all my life. Everyone's heard of Hearthstone, but I'd like to bring your focus to some other options. Gwent is a game that I'm playing on a daily basis. Originally brought to life from Witcher card minigame, it really stands on its own, and I honestly think it's the best card game on the market. It's not played like Hearthstone or most CCG games, with the goal being to have more points on the board than your opponent in 2 out of the 3 rounds. A very warm recommendation. KARDS, with a K, is a World War II CCG. It's a really cool concept, with factions being some of the more important sides during the war. It has beautiful artwork and atmosphere, and I honestly really like it for its strategic and innovative card abilities. It very much has its place on the market. Magic the Gathering Arena is a pretty big player in the CCG market at the moment. No wonder, since it's based on one of the most popular card games of all time. It's what you'd expect of Magic the Gathering, and if that sounds good, then you'll probably be happy. You know, I always felt that the best way to play poker is to put an atmosphere around it. That's why I like Poker Night at the Inventory so much. Prominence Poker is similar in a way. You see the characters gathered around the table in different locations while playing your cards. There are fun tournaments to be had, and I believe it to be the best online poker experience. Shadow Wars has its place here because of the beautiful anime artwork and a wonderful single-player campaign. Gameplay-wise, it's pretty pretty much anime Hearthstone in a way. But does that make it bad or uninteresting? Certainly not. The best three first-person shooters are known to practically everyone. With CSGO and Destiny 2 now free, there should be no doubt what the best choices are. If that doesn't do it for you, perhaps you'd like a hero shooter. Team Fortress 2 and Paladins are still very good options for that. Another good option to go to is the multiplayer horror title, Deceit. You can play either as an innocent or infected, depending how the game chooses each round, and without knowing who is innocent or infected, your goal is either to escape as an innocent or to sabotage innocent's efforts as infected. It's great fun with friends. There are some other titles that definitely deserve a mention, but they don't fit into any of the mentioned categories. Brawlhalla, a 2D fighter very similar to Super Smash. Warframe, a third-person looter shooter with futuristic ninjas. Doki Doki Literature Club, for people that want an unique and interesting visual novel that takes a horror twist. Town of Salem, a browser game with a town lynching system. There are many roles, but the goal of the game is to eliminate the evil roles in the town. Or good ones if you're a part of the evil roles. It's also available on Steam, but it's €5 there. And that's all the recommendations that I'll give today. Hopefully you'll find something to keep you entertained, and perhaps I even reminded you of some games you might have forgotten about. I probably missed a lot of great options, but we are really spoiled for choice these days. There are thousands of free games worth your time, and even if you don't have a dime to your name, you probably got a lot of free games through various giveaways, be it from Humble Bundle, Epic or some other platform. With all that in mind, you'll probably find something to play. That's it from me, thanks for watching, subscribe if you enjoyed for more videos like this, Calbron out.